Come make me tell you about the things them way I want, sir. Back in the days when the dancer used to warm, sir. When Clinton Lindsay used to bust them, make them go on, sir. Whole heap of artists Clinton bring come up America. Some never know say Clinton Lindsay.
Hi, welcome to Now You Know with Clinton Lindsay. I want to thank you for liking, sharing, and also subscribe and leave your comments as usual. Thank you very much for the support. And today we're going to be talking about the cool ruler, Gregory Isaacs. I'm going to take you back to 1991. I believe in the spring of 1991. I got a call from Mrs. Older at Super Power Records. And in my piece on Gil Bailey, I introduced Mrs. Older, so you could check that piece with Gil Bailey. Now I got a call from Mrs. Older. She said to me that she has a friend named Mary, and she's the person that's doing Gregory Isaacs in the Caribbean, and she had gotten a work permit for Gregory, which I've heard about, and I was a bit suspicious because I heard he didn't get it in Jamaica, and usually you get your work permit in your country of origin. But anyhow, you know, he was touring and whatever, that the way it was. So she said she was talking to Mary, and Mary wanted to bring Gregory to New York, and Mary asked her who would she recommend. She needed someone with experience, knowledge, and so on. So Mrs. Ola thought I would be the best candidate for the task. So she asked me if I would do it and how much would I charge and all of that. And I told her, let me think about it. I'll get back to her and give her, because I didn't want to jump at it because of Gregory, because I kind of have an idea the problems and the headache that he brings with him. So I finally got back to Mrs. Holder and I told her, these are my conditions. If I'm going to do Gregory, these are my conditions. One of the things that I demanded was that Gregory would have to be in New York 2 weeks prior to whatever date we're going to do. And because that's important. His last performance or appearance in New York was 1982, I believe, and it was almost like 8 years to the date. Over the 8 years they haven't been to New York. There have been many false promotions. I remember there was one at the Apollo Theater, and at the last minute they had to cancel. So it's been 8 years up to that date that Gregory Isaacs has not been in New York. And I gave her a price, and she agreed. She called the lady, agreed. I got back to me sending some money. I went, got a date at the Palladium on 14th Street, and started the promotion there. In the meantime, Gregory was like traveling all over the Caribbean, missing dates, missing flights, just what was expected of Gregory Isaacs in those days. Eventually I got the date and we started our promotion, and I remember one time Mary called and said that I think Gregory missed the flight to Trinidad, and he was traveling on private jet, because there's no way traveling on commercial flight wouldn't make sense, because the fact that he was very unreliable. But what I was told by Mary that she'd been losing money because traveling by private jet is one thing, but when the passenger does not show up, you gotta keep that flight on ground at the airport, or you send it back to Miami for next day, and that's another. I think in those days, what about $10,000 to $12,000, $8,000 to $10,000, when you hire a private jet. So anyhow, the time came for Gregory to reach New York, and I called Clifton Henry from Stereo One, And I said, yo, Cliffy, I have a job for you now. That advertisement here in New York of Gregory coming, I'm involved with it. I'm doing it. And he said, really, boss? You sure you know you get yourself here? I said, yeah. But anyhow, this is what I want you to do. I want you to take care of Gregory. I want, when the day comes for him to go to the airport, I want you to go pick him up, make sure him get on that plane, and head for New York. Cliffy said, no problem, man. Me can deal with Gregory. I'm saying, all right, brethren, that's your task. So I look forward to Gregory getting to New York. The day came when Gregory was supposed to leave Jamaica to New York. Cliffy went to Gregory's place, his home, the day before, just to make sure Gregory is aware and make sure Gregory, knows that he's leaving. I think the flight was like 11 o'clock in the morning, and he was gonna come back in the morning, pick him up, and then they head for the airport together. By 9:30 the next day, it was Cliffy on the phone. Yo, boss, boy, I don't know if I tell you, but me just mess up with Gregory. I'm like, what do you mean mess up with Gregory? You say I went to Gregory in the morning, they were in the cab together, heading for the airport, and somewhere, maybe Vineyard Town or somewhere in that area, Gregory said, yo, the boy, let's say Tony, the boy Tony owe me some money, taxi, let me need this money, come here, I go to New York, so could I use this money? And Cliffy said that he thought that was a legitimate statement or a legitimate excuse to stop the car. And he said, all right, Gregory, go pick up the money and come back. We have to get to the airport on time to catch this, to go on this plane, a private jet. Cliffy said, Gregory was like, yeah, man, what you mean we can't miss that, brethren? No, say business, blah, blah, blah. And he said, all right. So Cliffy said, after about 5 minutes, him said, hold on there. No, man, and him realized him jump out of the taxi, tell the taxi man to hold on. Went through some zinc fence and some, just going through, I asked people, you see Gregory? You see? Say, yeah, Gregory, just gone, run on the other side, Gregory went into one yard, went through a back gate of another yard, went over here, and he was gone. By the time Cliffy got to where Gregory was supposed to go, he was gone. And it was missing for the whole day. So when he called me now, I have to call Mary to tell Mary that Gregory missed the flight because Cliffy let him get away. And he's not going to be in. So she will have to make the decision, either have the plane stay in Jamaica till the next day, or have the plane come back to Miami and then go down the next morning. I believe the plane came back and then went back the next morning. I think that's what happened. Anyhow, the next day, Cliffy went early. Gregory was there. They have the argument. Oh, you could do that, Cliffy said. Gregory was like, they feel the vibe and, the same old story, and him have to take care of some business. Him have to get him medicine and whatever him call that. Anyway, so Cliffy make sure no stop, no friend, no stop and get nothing from no friend. And they made it. They made it together. Cliffy took him to the airport, got him on the flight. Cliffy didn't come at that time, and Gregory came in. By the time Gregory came now, the promotion, it was more than a week, but not 2 weeks before he came. I had asked for 2 weeks, and he maybe came 9 days or something like that, which was good enough. So what I had him doing was to go to the various radio stations, restaurants, do the thing that people know that, yes, Gregory is here for real. By the time Gregory came, Mary had run out of money. broke. I have no money. So she was asking me, if I could help out. She wanted like $20,000. And I said, I know someone who you can get it from without no problem. But listen to me, Mary. It's between you and that person. I'm just gonna make the introduction. And I call up Nick from Act 3. I said, Nick, I want to introduce you to somebody. And Nick, she has some problem, and whatever deal you cut with her is between you and her. I'm just introducing you guys. So Nick, he said, okay, he will deal with her. So I sent Mary over to Nick. They cut a deal. She got the $20,000, and whatever the deal was, I just don't want to know about it. So she got the money, and she was able to clear up some stuff that we had to clear up in terms of additional funds for for radio and so on. When Gregory came, my travel agent, Candy, had booked him into I think it was a Sheraton, and within a day or two she had to move him because the hotel was complaining. Other tenants in the hotel, they were complaining of the smell, the weed smell, and so on and whatever. So for the next couple of days, like every other day, Candy phone, she said I should book him on the west side, because there are those little hotels, that it would be better to book him there, because it's just people having short stays, and so that would be there. So I got him one over on the west side, of course. I remember I got a call maybe like 4:30 in the morning. I was sleeping, my phone rang. Clinton Lindsay. I said, yes, it's me. I'm Mr. Gonzalez from whatever the hotel name. You have a tenant here? I said, yeah. And I gave the name, and she said, yes, that one. I leave here at 6 o'clock. I check out at 6 o'clock. I want you here to take this man out of this hotel. If you're not here by 6 o'clock, I'm gonna call the police. I said, what happened? I'm in the Bronx. He said, you have until 6 o'clock before I check out. I want him out. I had to just jump on the West Side Highway, just got up, put out some clothes, jump on the West Side Highway and reach Manhattan before 6 o'clock. This man leaves. I get him and said, Gregory, what's the matter? You can't do them things in a hotel, brethren. You can't. He wouldn't listen. Got him another hotel, in the same area, is the same thing. So I tried to do my best in discouraging him. Every morning when I come to the hotel, he's always in the lobby with some of his people, some of his friends. And when these friends see me come, they are ready to leave. Yes, Gregory, all right, tomorrow, here. They never want to stay around, because I was like, these are the guys that are supplying him with this thing. I remember one morning I walk into the lobby, into the hotel, and Gregory says, I always heard that he's a comedian, he's very funny at times. And I walked in, and the first thing he said to me, Clinton Lindsay, you can't change your jeans. I said, change my jeans? What are you talking about? He said, you had it on yesterday? You had it on the day before? No, man, you must change your jeans, man. I said, Gregory, it's a jeans, that's why they make them rough, that you can't wear them. And I was surprised at that when he said, he was obviously he's taking note of that. Another day I came into another hotel, and his dad, as I walked in, I could tell that was his dad. You see Gregory's father, and you see Gregory. And we talked for a few minutes, but for whatever reason, Gregory never want anyone, even me. I hardly went up whichever hotel he's staying. I hardly went up there because certain times he just outside, and that's where we would meet his people. All right, so we start doing the promotions, and the days are counting down. I had an interview with Clive Hudson, and I pick up Gregory and I say, Gregory, gonna do Clive Hudson, and when you talk to Clive, just I already asked Clive not to bring up drugs and all those things, and Clive said no problem. And I said to Gregory, when you go there, just talk to the audience and discourage them from using drugs and so on. And he went up, and I was in the car downstairs listening to the interview, and he did his bit, and he talked about the drug thing and shouldn't do it and lick the pipe and all them things. Yeah. So when the interview was over, he came down now, and I was in the back seat because I think Short George was driving, and him say, boss, me tell them what they want to hear, right? I said, what they want to hear, huh? He said, me do good, right, boss? Me do. I said, yeah, Gregory, yes. There was this Sunday now that David Lever was on one station, Pat McKay was on the other station. So Pat McKay, I think, was like maybe an hour or 2 hours before David Lever. I promised both of them that Gregory will stop by. So I went to Pat McKay first, being that she was on earlier. They talk, and then when we were leaving, I think Pat was at WBLS, I think, or KISS, whichever one. And we were leaving now. We said, okay, Gregory, we're going to go to another station to talk to David Lever. He said, another one? I said, yeah, we got to talk about people, everybody know him. He said, boy, I'm there all week, and everybody should know I'm there. And he said wanted to use the bathroom. And I'm like, Gregory, just when you reach the station, you can use the bathroom there. No, he want to use fiend bathroom, and he carried on. I said, George, all right, let's go back to the hotel where he was staying. Went upstairs. My gut feelings was telling me to go with him, but like I said, I normally don't go up there and go to his room, And after about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, oh no, not again. So, David had like an hour left on his show. And he's still talking about, special guest he's going to be talking to Gregory Isaacs. So I ran upstairs to where Gregory was. Banging on the door. The man won't open the door. I said, Gregory, open the door. It's me. You gotta come. When he finally came, he had some wet towels inside at the door. Wet towels, whatever that was. I said, we gotta go. He said, no, him no feel right, and him belly hurt him. And I'm looking at the time, and David have like half an hour to go. I called David. And I said, David, unfortunately, Gregory is not feeling too good. And he, if you could do a phone interview. No, man, that's disrespect. You have him over by Pat McKay and me must get phone interview. I said, seriously, David, it's out of my hand, brethren. Please work with me. And he insisted, no. And it was like, Mr. David, you and I have been working together for years. So, give me a break. If it was in my control. We're talking to Gregory now. We're talking about Gregory Isaacs. And he said, okay, 5 minutes. Just so Gregory could just say, yeah, he's here. Because he's not gonna, David believed it was a disrespect for Gregory to be over by Pat McKay live, and me want to give him on the phone. I said, at least just say hello to him. So David did that. He didn't come back down, so we left, we talked, we left. I remember one day I went to his hotel, and what I do when I'm working with these veteran artists, I try to question them. I question them. Ask questions like what I said to him one day. I said, Gregory, what you know about cocaine? What you know about drugs? He said, boy, no, the boy Dennis. I said, Dennis? He said, yeah, the boy Dennis give me, man. I'm give me. I said, oh, okay. I said, one time I said to him again, I said, listen, in 1985, when you went up to get your work permit and the embassy turned you down and they told you that to get the work permit you have to go on an anti-drug campaign. At the time, Nancy Reagan was doing the Say No for Drugs campaign, and the embassy suggested that Gregory should do a song, go to schools and so on, and talk about, the dangers of drugs and so on. And he did one thing of all the demands that were made of him. He made the song Hard Drugs. That's how the song Hard Drugs came about. Some say, why didn't you just finish it up and go to the schools and so on? Me not know time for that. I said, but they told you if you do that, they would give you your work permit. And I said, Gregory, it's been 8 years now you haven't been to America. About how much money you think you have lost in that time span? And he looked and he's calculating in his head. And the man said to me, what, $8 million or so? I said, $8 million? He said, yeah, because him get good money when him go up on tour when he come America. So in the 8 years that he hasn't come, he estimated about $8 million. Now, Gregory and Short George didn't get along. And a lot of times him and Short George just cuss each other. And boy, I hear something come out of Gregory mouth that me say, my gosh. And the worst part about it is just the fact that I couldn't keep him in a hotel long enough. If we are driving from Manhattan to Brooklyn, I have to stop 2-3 times for him to get out, and he would go to the back of the car or the back of the bus, whatever we are driving, and do him thing. And it was very difficult, and I couldn't wait for what I did. I had booked him the following week after my show to go to Miami. Some guy wanted to do in Miami. I couldn't wait. Anyhow, the showtime came. The deal that Mary worked with Nick from Act 3 was that Nick gave her the 20 grand, but to get back his money, he would have his wife at the box office for the first, if it's 20 grand plus 5, whatever the deal was, they will collect that from the first. Diana would be in the box office to collect the money that's owed to them, because there was interest on it. And I believe it was 23 or 25. That was a short period of time. And Diana was at the box office. She collected that. After they collected theirs, now our people were able to go in the box office and continue. Gregory did a good show. It was good, and it was just about sold out. And but with all of that, I just couldn't wait for him to leave and go to Miami, because he was just too much. It was just too much. So I remember when the show was over, again we had to go to Brooklyn to Mrs. Ola to settle. That's where Mary, whatever we made at that night, that's where Mary kind of do the accounting, and I got what was left for me to be my salary or whatever it was. And then the next day, George and and Byron and those guys, traveled to Miami. They left. I mean, George wasn't too happy because him and Gregory always at each other, and this was in 1991. And Gregory stayed in America for a couple of years. When he came with me, he had the dreadlocks, and within months he had cut his hair, and that's how you see him after that with no dreadlocks. And that was the way it was. One of the most difficult artists I ever worked with was Gregory Isaacs in 1991. That's the way it was. Now you know. All right, thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also spread the word to let people know of this program. Now you know. Until next time, you take care of yourself.
And Lindsay a promoter. Bring up the biggest set of artists from Jamaica. Like Super Cat and Mr. Early be the doctor. Whole heap of artists, no for them me can't remember. Who can remember when them used to keep Jamaica? The kind of show that used to give out no for water. To reggae artists.